On today's episode of The Back of the Bird, we sit down with Colorado Mammoth Captain, Peterborough Lakers Junior A head coach, Peterborough Lakers Senior A captain Robert Hope. Chat about a lot of great things, his philosophies as a coach, his time as a player, some great stories from the Mammoth days, playing on the offensive side of the ball at Pfeiffer. A lot of good stuff in there. We also rip open some more PLL cards with our biggest pull yet. Chat about some news and notes around the lacrosse world and just chop it up a little bit. Let's get right into it. Episode 129 of The Back of the Bird.
Take your first ride and run, baby, run. If you want a sign, this is it. You're mad, you're magic, you're as hot as a gun. You wanna play with fire, consider this. You'll chase the thrill if it's worth the hit, 'cause you never ever wanna work for it. Take your first ride and run, baby, run. You got a spine of steel and a roar of thunder. Yeah, you make me drown, yeah, you're pulling me under.
Okay, we're back. Episode 129 of Back of the Bird, presented by Cottage Springs. Get out there and grab some springers. Christmas time, holiday parties, whether it's a work party, the high school friends are getting back together. Be the good guy, good gal that shows up with just a 2-4 for everybody. Hey, how are you? Get these punched up in you, see what happens. Maybe tomorrow will suck, but you'll have fun tonight. So get out there, get to your LCBO, your Costco's, wherever you want to buy them. Just go grab them. We appreciate you, Cottage Springs. But, Donnie, we're one soldier down. Paulie's working, but let's dive into it, buddy. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Been a tough stretch here for us in Vegas, obviously. Never fun to lose, but, we got a great group here and excited to get it turned around. And nice to see a number of our Panther City staffers came to watch the game in Philly. Obviously, there's a bunch of Panther City guys on Philly and on and on our Vegas team as well. So kind of a nice little Panther City reunion there, and means a lot that those folks came out. It was nice to kind of walk down memory lane there a little bit, but looking for a W. It's a good league, man. It's hard to win games right now in this league, and you don't want to get left behind here. So looking for a big one this weekend, hopefully, and then obviously the holiday after that. So other than that, I'm good. A great interview with Robert Hope. You'll obviously already know that. Given this, appreciate his time. One thing I thought was funny, we had Ryan Dilks on, we have Robert Hope on. If you want to be a captain in the NLL, play junior C hockey.
Facts.
I mean, back to back.
It all checks out.
First junior C hockey, and then NLL captain. What, 4 NLL championships between those two, junior C to captain pipeline.
That's it. And this interview actually reminded me of a story I don't think I've told on here before, but maybe I have. So if I have, you guys are going to hear it again. But he talked about just like getting the cup back and forth and like taking it out to Denver. And I don't know if I've ever explained this, but so I was working at FedEx and in sales, and I get a call from my phone rings from Danny Mack. This is in 2019, and he was shipping the trophy from Calgary to Toronto via FedEx, but he put the wrong postal code in, so the trophy was stuck at the FedEx hub in Toronto. So technically, he was shipping it to like the company he worked for named Brunel at the time, which he still I believe works for now, and that account just so happened to fall into my territory. So I drove to the airport, like to the hub, searched through like all these piles of shit, and it was in the pile of like miscellaneous addresses. I find the cup in a giant bin, and throw it in my car, drive it over to the Brunel office. They start, whatever, showing it off and whatever. I end up meeting his boss at the time there, and 2 weeks later, I'm working for that company.
No way.
I ended up taking a job with them. I worked there for 2 years. So it was, the NLL does crazy things for you, but it was, really interesting thing. Because and funny enough, at the time at FedEx, the lady that I reported to, she fucking sucked. But um, she I went and picked it up, and she assumed I just wanted to go to a cup party. Like that's how she understood the story. But I was going above and beyond for my customers, and she told me to take a vacation day because I went and did that. And then I was like, you know what? I quit. I'm done with this lady. And I ended up actually telling because I knew some senior people over at FedEx, so I ended up telling them. And then I think she got gassed.
Oh
So
wow,
yeah, so things kind of went crazy there. But yeah, you never know
damn.
what. That's just one of those things you never know. Like when you say yes to something or do something, you never know what it's going to lead to. So that led to a great time in my life and working there. But you know, it does crazy things for you. It's funny. I don't know if I told you this story too, but I was listening to the radio the other day, and this guy was talking about this like unbelievable gambling pick he had once in a lifetime. The line was so wrong. Vegas got it wrong. So I call this phone number, and they go, "Okay, what's your name?" I'm like, "Dan, whatever." Like, okay, phone number. Like, okay, we'll call you back. I'm like, this is so sketchy. So, anyways, they end up calling me back. The guy goes, "Okay, the line's moved, but I got a different pick for you." He's like, "I'm just gonna need some money from you." He goes, "Then I'll give you all my picks, whatever." He actually ended up giving a couple good picks, like as teaser picks. But now this guy follows up and texts me with picks and says, I want $50 or $100 from you for all these picks." And I just started texting him back. I said, "When you want to get serious, you let me know if you want my picks, buddy, because I'm on a streak right now. So I'm either gonna get some money from picks for this guy, or I'm gonna get assassinated by the mob because he keeps calling me." So
Okay,
um,
good.
yeah, so keep an eye out. If you don't hear from me for a bit, then that's probably what happened. Um, Outside of that, anything do you want to we want to roll through the scores maybe from the weekend?
Yeah, so before that, I just had a few news items coming up in the lacrosse world. Yeah, so the WLL announced their new franchise names. So it is the California Palms, the Boston Guard, the New York Charging, and the Maryland Charm. Obviously, pretty cool that I don't. I think it's kind of going to be a slow-ish start with just championship series. But one thing I think is cool is that the four franchises align themselves in terms of colors and logo and kind of like brand theme with the PLL teams in those markets. And obviously, the PLL is still a tour-ish model where you have the home cities, but you still have these tours. So in my mind, it doesn't seem that hard to add more games to the weekend. Uh, so you're adding men's and women's. I see the vision is I guess kind of my point,
Drinking the
and
Kool Aid.
I'm drinking the Kool Aid. I see the vision. I think it's sick that these women will get a chance to play professional. Not they're already playing professional lacrosse, but get a chance to kind of be a part of the PLL mothership there. And again, I don't think it's going to be a lot this summer, but hopefully in future years. And uh, just kind of wanted to pass that on. The PLL does a great job with the logos as they always do. And then many of you listening to this will have read my article about the Gordie Howe hat tricks on lacrosse culture.
So
A very
good.
fun piece. If you haven't read it, go read it. What a league, man!
I
Like
love this
just
league so much. I love it so much. Reading that, I was like, this is exactly the kind of shit we need to get out there so that people just understand. Guys are doing this and going to work on Monday. It is amazing. Like I lost my mind, man, at the
Iannucci.
Iannucci just like putting up an absolute game and then fighting the goalie at the end. Like that. I mean, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, and for those of you who didn't read it, so Gordie Howe hat trick, goal, assist, and a fight in a game. NLL game data goes back to 2005. Sean Evans had the most by a mile. He's done it 11 times. Sean Pollock did it 6 times. Scott Evans, Dan Dawson, Brody Merrill did it 4 times each. Some other highlights in there. Again, you should go read the article. Uh, Kevin Crowley did it as part of a sock trick, ended up with 10 points and a fight. That has got to be one of the better nights in NLL history.
Didn't he fight someone tough too?
He fought
Or Smith, didn't he?
he fought Sid Smith, yeah.
Oh,
And one of the funner ones that I realized did not make it into the article was so I was talking in the article about guys who accomplished the Gordy trick by fighting each other. It's happened a few times where both guys in a fight did it. For example, Rob Hellier and Zach Greer fought each other. both had a goal and assist in the game, went on to become teammates. My favorite near miss of that was Paul got in a fight, Jeff Snyder got in a fight, and Dan Dawson got in a fight. But Dan Dawson and Jeff both had Gordie Howe hat tricks, but Jeff fought Paul instead of fighting Dan. So it's kind of the same, you know. It's like
So connected.
if I'm not gonna fight, yeah, he didn't. They didn't do it necessarily against each other, but um,
That's
yeah.
good.
So just a good piece there, and went through some really insane game sheets that were just. It's also funny to see the terminology for the penalties change over the course of the
Oh,
year.
really?
So in the old, in like the late kind of 2000s, there was a penalty for obscene language. Which, if you've spent 10 seconds around an NLL team, to think that there's a penalty for obscene language, given what the normal language is like,
Yeah. What do you got to
whoa.
say? What do you got to say to get that?
Yeah, yeah, right. Like, wow, the things that I've heard that
Yeah.
just aren't even addressed. So,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, that was a good one, and yeah, I encourage you to go read that article and all everything else we're doing on lacrosse culture daily. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good writers on there, and happy to contribute.
Love it. Do we want to maybe send it over to the Hope Dog?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beauty. Well, as always, brought to you by Lucky Penny Media. At Lucky Penny Media, we're a full service marketing company without hefty agency pricing. We understand your brand is everything to you, and working together, it means everything to us. You're more than just a client, you're a partner and a teammate. Our philosophy is simple: you grow, I grow, we grow. There he is, Robert Hope.
This Peterborough native has played his entire professional career with the Colorado Mammoth. He played as a college lacrosse at Pfeiffer before he was selected with the seventh overall pick in the 2014 NLL draft. He was named the captain of the Mammoth in 2018, and he has led the Mammoth to the 2022 NLL championship. He's also a Mann Cup and a World Box Lacrosse champion. Welcome to Back of the Bird, Robert Hope.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
What's going on, man? How's life these days? Things are looking up in Mammoth Land there.
Things are good. Busy at home with a little guy and a reno and a baby on the way, and Christmas, and trying to set up a Christmas tree and all the fun stuff of Christmas time. And then, I mean, just getting prepped for lacrosse and film and trying to stay in shape and workouts and so on and so forth. So it's busy, but it's good. It's fun. Having a
That's
good
it,
time
eh?
with it.
Just all of those different things.
Yeah, just a balancing act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice little summary of this time of year, especially like as the season kind of kicks off in December. And I mean, you figure you might as well have one on the way. Perfect time to start the renos right around the Christmas time. What is it you guys are doing to your place?
We're doing a kitchen rental right now. It was one of those ones. It was supposed to be done in, yeah, I mean, like a month ago, so we were ready for Christmas, and it's just it's kind of work during the day and then come home and try to get some kitchen rental stuff done right now. So just kind of countertops got measured today and cupboards and all
Fuck.
that fun stuff.
It
Yeah. So
sounds like Dylan Evans might be your contractor if something happens.
yeah, all hands on deck here.
I love it. That's awesome, man. Well, why don't we'll usually kind of kick it off back to the start. So you're born and raised in Peterborough, is that right?
Born and raised in Peterborough. Yeah. Just grew up just 4 streets down from the Mem Center in the south end of Peterborough. So yeah, very fortunate to be from where I'm from and to be able to have good access to all the great lacrosse that's been played there over the years.
Did you grow up playing hockey and lacrosse then?
Yeah, yeah, kind of same with most Canadians. Kind of started when I was whatever 3 years old, and kind of played AAA all the way up, and a year at junior C, and then off to school.
Did your family play? Did your dad play in his day, or just kind of like more of a community thing?
Yeah, he would have played like house league back in the day. I know he
Okay.
had like he was obviously friends with a bunch of guys that played and were really successful, like Frankie Kiley and the Evans brothers. Kind of everyone knew everyone. Obviously, Peterborough being a small enough town and a sports community, but he was always very active with hockey and baseball and ball hockey and so on and so forth. So he kind of always got my brother and me in different things. And He was kind of the one that introduced me to lacrosse and kind of thought it was a good idea to sign up, and kind of was like a boom during that time in the early 2000s. Lakers were kind of getting back into things, and juniors were having success. So it was a good time to start. And I mean, it was great to watch, and it was good to kind of get going with those guys, kind of teaching us and passing down the lessons.
Yeah, I kind of had that in the notes. Like when you were kind of, growing up, really in the time you were watching the cross, that was kind of a heyday for the Lakers a little bit. I guess you guys kind of had another one now the last few years, but those must have been some pretty good teams you were watching when you were a kid.
Dynamite. Yeah, it was the time of my life for sure. Every Thursday night, and my family's had season tickets since 2003, sitting in the same spot. And even when they transferred over to the Kinsman for a little bit during the Renos and the Mem Center, and then obviously seeing them win at home in 2004, and kind of watching those guys, and then being able to play with them like Junior and Shawnee and Scotty and Steven and the Self brothers, and obviously all the Evanses and Kyle Laverty, and the list just goes. I mean, on and on and on. And again, it was one of those things. Like I remember when people used to ask me, like, "Oh, well, who's your favorite team?" And it was at the time I was kind of in between. The Leafs broke my heart. Matt Sundin broke my heart. So as a kid, I transitioned, and I didn't know who to cheer for, and I just told everyone like Lakers were my favorite team. So like, I had a period there I was just all in for lacrosse, and that was it. So again, I was very fortunate. I know a lot of guys my age were very fortunate to be able to see those guys, see those teams, and even the other teams that they got to play against, like Victoria coming in and Langley and New Westminster and all the Brampton series and the Six Nations series. Like those guys are legends of lacrosse. Yeah, I mean the best players in the team. Even though when you're a kid, you had a little bit of a hate on for them, but then you realize once you get older, like wow, that was like maybe some of the best lacrosse you could ever possibly watch. And some of those series were just truly amazing, like historic series and historic runs that guys that end up winning the Mike Kelly Award, or I mean Patty O'Toole. I mean, how many assists that he had, and I mean seeing Shawnee put up different records and Junior put up different records, and some of the defenders that were out there, and just like complete lockdown. So yeah, I was very fortunate. We were very fortunate to come from Peterborough and to be able to be witness that and have a front row seat to it, to every single Thursday night, and watching it right into late September, seeing Man Cups come here and following them. Back then, there was like, I didn't have any internet access. We would just tune into the radio and see the updates or hear the updates in the morning, getting up ready for school. That was kind of our only updates when they would go out west. So things came a long way, but again, very fortunate.
That's great, man. So who would have been your age kind of growing up in Peterborough that you guys that you would have played with kind of throughout minor?
For my 91 age group, it would be like myself and Matty Croak. Croker drafted to, I believe, New England, and maybe the same draft, maybe a year after me. So we were kind of the first, and we didn't really have a big group of 91s really for my age group. The 92s, Jeff Swift and Brad Baker and different guys from that age, and then the 90s like Tyler Baker and Mikey Thomas. And then 93s would be like Turner Evans, and then 94s, Jake Withers, Zach Courier, 95s, Gilly, Hoagie, kind of list kind of goes on kind of for that. And then we had some good out of town guys kind of come into guys from Curtis and in different areas like that, drafted well at times, and we were able to compete. But yeah, so we were kind of all, again, some of the, like you guys know, some of the best time of your life, junior A lacrosse, and being able to kind of play junior A and then be in a locker room just down the hall from some of these guys that are playing pro, guys that you've looked up to your whole life, and you kind of get to see them every Thursday night. We used to practice before them, and then they'd jump on the floor and we'd stick around, and yeah, so it was a very cool time in our lives.
I remember now that you bring it up too. Like I remember it would have been, I guess, your first year midget. You guys played against my brother. My brother's a 90, and you guys played against him it was like the B semifinals of provincials, and it was like the most insane. I remember vividly, just an insane back and forth game. And say, because which one's the older one, Tyler Baker?
Yes.
And because he was I think he was like number 9 as well, right? Like kind of growing up
Yeah.
or whatever. And then
Yeah.
he was putting up a bunch of goals. Him and my brother going back and forth at it. It was and I remember like that was essentially the final, because it was like
Yeah.
the next. I don't even remember who they ended up playing, like Mimico or something. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's a while ago.
That makes total sense because I think we only went to eight provincials. Like we were very weak, like my age group, we're very weak centers for the most part. I think we went to eight provincials, or sorry, eight qualifiers, not eight provincials, eight qualifiers, maybe once or twice over our times. And then we'd always just be in the heated battle in the B semifinals or quarterfinals
Yeah,
against like some yeah, I mean, like it wasn't, yeah, I mean, it's a B centered back then. Like it was pretty watered down. Lacrosse has grown a lot since
yeah,
then, and Peter's had a lot more success. But back then, it was great to play. Yeah, I mean, at time, but again, you kind of realize that those big centers we didn't have a chance against. Like we got
yeah,
in our zone five, we got steamrolled. Yeah, I mean, by Whitby, Mark Matthews, and Palmer, and all those guys would just kind of steamroll us pretty good and handily. They were kind of just a little bit of a I mean, just kind of a walkover in those games.
yeah. Yeah, that's a tough. It's a little bit of a humbling thing when you go to B provincials and you're playing Six Nations four and you end up losing to them. It's never a fun thing. But talk to us a little bit about. I mean, how your recruiting process. How did everything go down to get yourself all the way down to North Carolina?
Uh, no recruiting process. I was drinking in my basement and I got a phone call. Me and my buddies were just like we were I don't know 17, 18. I was going to Fleming College at the time. It was a Friday night and I got a call again. Like I said, we're having a couple of beers. Got a call and it was a coach from Pfeiffer University that said that he was interested in me coming down to play lacrosse as soon as possible. He heard my name through at the turkey shoot because I played a little bit of U19 while I was playing junior C at the time hockey, and like again, not really at the time didn't really have any hopes of kind of even doing lacrosse. I was just kind of, yeah, I mean, hoping to make the next team, like junior A. That was a big step for me. And then, like I said, got the call. At the time, very naive, young kid. I had no clue where like North Carolina was in regards to like the states. I know I had to ask my buddy Harley King. I'm like, where is like? He's like, well, they're in the East because they're in the Eastern Conference for hockey. They gotta be somewhere, all right. So that's kind of the way we figured it out. And then I kind of like went up to my parents and said like, this guy wants me to come down like right now, and I didn't have any clue about SATs, ACTs, scores, GPA, any of that. I didn't. It wasn't even a hope and a wish. It was kind of at the time in Peterborough, it was like those really good guys that went, like Shawnee Evans and Kyle Sorensen went. Yeah, I mean those were studs playing at, I mean, 18, 19 at pro lacrosse, and I knew I wasn't those guys, and I just said, like, yeah, I mean, it's not going to work out that way. And then getting this call and kind of really turned things that they wanted me to come. I think that was in like November or December, and they wanted me to come in January, and it didn't work out that year. But that kind of started the recruitment process. I finished out the year for hockey, and then headed down with a lot of guidance of my parents. I was pretty reluctant, I would say, to go down there and be away from your buddies and so on and so forth. Probably, like I said, pretty young and naive of me at the time. But again, I'm glad my parents were there to give me a good push and be a very strong support group for me, kind of moving forward, because it was a big step for my lacrosse and development, and to be able to mature as a player and stuff, and had a lot of fun at it too. So I'm glad
Yeah.
I went.
So I played for Millie at Cornell actually. So like that's who I think that's who called you, right? It was Pete Millman.
Yeah, so it was Pete Milliman and Steve Torkington, and one thing that really worked out for me is that Milliman called Junior, like John Grant Jr., because they played together when they're on the Rochester Rattlers in whatever year it was, and they were good buddies and kind of Rochester guys in regards to RIT and so on and so forth, and Junior kind of sold me and said like, yeah, no, he's a good South End boy. I had like a lacrosse rebounder in my backyard, and he drove by it a couple times and kind of knew of me, and told Pete that, yeah, I mean, I was good and enough, even though he probably didn't see me too much or watch me actually play, but kind of sold me on it, and I was fortunate for that. And then kind of Pete kind of gave me the okay, and Steve Torkington, the assistant coach at the time, was kind of like guided me there. And so yeah, like I was fortunate that Jordan Junior put in a good word for me, and kind of things worked out for me that way.
That's awesome. For those who don't know, by the way, Millie's now the head coach at Hopkins. So you know, pretty good path there. Pfeiffer to RIT, stopped at Princeton, Cornell, and then now at Hopkins. So And you were an O guy there, right? I was just looking. You had 44 points, I think, one year. What was that like?
It was great. Pete was obviously unbelievable as a coach for all of us. A lot of us, I mean, Pfeiffer alumni really look up to him and still do. He was a great coach for us. And again, I had him for, I think, a year and a half. And like you said, he went on to greener pastures, and it's great to see his success. I know a lot of us still continue to follow him. But I remember going down and talking to guys, and yeah, I mean, I was a long pole slash midi slash, at that time you played everything kind of in U19. So I kind of did it all. And they kind of said like, where would you want to play? And I was like, well, like this is, I didn't even bring a long pole down. I just had like a box stick. So I was like, I play box cross, like wherever you guys want me. And they saw me a couple times. Pete saw me a couple times. I caught like a pass to the middle. He always tells the story, and I scored, and he's like, he's an attackman. So I played attack my whole 4 years, started for majority of those 4 years. But learned a lot, like, and I think it was great for my development. And again, I know the guys in our coaching staff in Colorado and wherever, they still, yeah, I mean, if I do anything remotely offensively, like maybe make a good pass, they say, oh, fight for attack, man, like watch out. Yeah, I mean, so it always comes back to me. But again, I thought it was great for me. At the time, I was a little hesitant just because knowing a little bit more about D, especially later on as I got into my junior, senior year, playing a lot more with the senior Lakers and kind of seeing that as my role kind of full time. I thought it helped out a lot.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was putting the notes together, I was thinking, I was like, I always remember that there's an NLL guy that played for Millie. I was like, shit, it was hoping if it means anything to you, they sell tire pump. He still tells the story at Cornell of you catching everything. So that rep has
There you go.
followed you around. So what was the off field scene like there? I was a small college, close to High Point actually. So I think probably some similarities there. What was it kind of like off the field?
Yeah, it was like, it's a super small, like you drive through it in 3 seconds. Like it's like that's the campus. Like you're through it. And again, it was an eye-opening experience for me going down there. And yeah, I mean Bible Belt, like kind of seeing, yeah, I mean some different rules that I wasn't used to. Like I said, naive kid, just knowing Peterborough, not traveling a ton to the States, and just kind of knowing what I knew from hearing through the grapevine. But again, small campus, but the guys that I had an opportunity to play with, and being a freshman class together were awesome dudes. I mean, James Shepard, Tom Buckley, Chris Buckley are kind of my main guys, and a bunch of upstate New York guys, and Zach Clark and Elliot Gilbert and so on and so forth. They're just great people to be around. And I mean, like you guys know, like you make the best of a situation when you have to do this and have to do that, and whatever it might be, if that's drinking in your dorm room or, yeah, I mean, going to finding a field party or whatever. And we were close enough to Charlotte. We had some good trips there, and good concerts, good lawn concerts, so on and so forth at Verizon. Got to see Eric Church a couple times, which was great, and really got into the country scene kind of down there. And again, being kind of right in the hot belly of it, we were very fortunate for that. So it was awesome. We made the best of the situation, being at a small school and stuff like that. But it was really cool. Yeah, I mean, kind of staying there a couple times during American Thanksgiving and kind of having the run of the mill, and yeah, I mean, getting up some pretty cool stories, I guess, kind of back and
Yeah.
forth. But yeah, so it was good. Again, small school, small campus, but real tight community in regards to kind of athletics. And again, we were fortunate to have good coaching and having some success when we were down there. Again, tough teams like Limestone always kind of push us out. And I mean, having a smaller bracket at the time for Division II lacrosse when it was, I mean, we never actually made it to the NCAA tournament. But again, a lot of us had a lot of fun there.
Is there, I could be thinking of the wrong place. Was there like a railroad that goes like right through the school, right through the campus?
That's the one. Yeah,
That,
yeah. Railroad through the school, and there was like, it was the first time I seen like a penitentiary like just a school bus that was just filled with prison inmates. It was like, it was again like something I've never seen. You only see on movies, and you see it there,
yeah.
and then like, yeah, like they take like some things a lot more serious down there than I would ever like.
Yeah.
I thought they were joking, but they're dead serious. Like they're pretty serious about stuff.
That is wild. Now, so I guess kind of like moving into to after you wrap up school, what do you remember about the NLL draft for you?
I think I first kind of remember just kind of like hearing things that like I said, at the time I had no intention of kind of not pursuing it, but like junior A was kind of where I thought it would end. And then the NCAA offer kind of came up at Pfeiffer, and then kind of things started moving forward. And uh, it kind of, you kind of hear rumblings that, yeah, I mean, I had the opportunity to play a couple times in the senior Lakers as an underage guy, and then kind of playing there a little bit more. And then you kind of hear people kind of reaching out to you or want your contact information to play, and you're kind of like, okay, like, could this go a little bit farther? Kind of take it a little bit more serious, so on and so forth. And then, yeah, I mean, you kind of get some talking to coaches and GMs, and kind of hearing different rumors of where I might go, and like what weight do I put in these rumors. And I just wanted to kind of continue to play and just work at my craft, and just, again, I really started to fall in love with the game more and more, from when I started, and thought it would be cool to be able to go pro or play pro or whatever that might lead down. And then draft day kind of came around, and I remember me and my family kind of went up together. My grandparents came, my cousins came, aunts, my mom, my dad, so on and so forth, and kind of, yeah, I mean, kind of seeing the draft list and some really good players that I've played against and played with that, yeah, I mean, were drafted or kind of around that time where they might go, and then kind of hearing my name at 7, I was ecstatic. And then kind of having, obviously, some connections to Peterborough. Dan Carey was there, and John Grant Jr. was at the draft. So kind of seeing those guys, chatting with those guys, and then being kind of first introduced to Patty Coyle and Stroopy and Gilly and Steve Govett, and Blader at the time. So it was a pretty cool process to be a part of it. And then kind of that's when the real, not saying it wasn't working hard before, but like the real work began, just making sure, I mean, I did everything possible to make the team, and to be an impact player kind of as soon as possible. Cause it was kind of, yeah, I mean, obviously being drafted is just an opportunity to go to camp. And then, I mean,
Yeah.
anyone can get cut, especially in lacrosse, you never know what's going to happen. So, and then kind of things kind of just got going from there. And I was fortunate to kind of make the team and have success my first year and get things rolling.
Well, I was just gonna say, kind of like moving into that, going into your first year into camp. I'm always interested in like kind of asking specifically like D guys this side of it. Like, what was the hardest adjustment you think from going from kind of like playing? Because obviously you would have had like a couple summers of senior A, after you aged out from junior. But like, what was the hardest adjustment as a D guy going into the NLL camp there?
Yeah, it's I would say just the speed, like it's another level up. Like, I mean, even though, and a lot of the guys, to me, I'm a very like tendency oriented player. A lot of the guys I hadn't seen, I hadn't played against. So it was like, yeah, I mean, you're used to playing against, yeah, I mean, having a good series with Six Nations a couple years in a row, and kind of you start figuring out what they are. Even though, like, yeah, I mean, they still score a bunch, but like you kind of figure out, okay, I get that. But then Western guys I hadn't played against, and you're kind of seeing what they are like. And then, yeah, I mean, you can only watch so much film on someone until you actually need to play against them to kind of get your understanding of, I mean, what their move is or whatever it might be. And yeah, I mean, at the time, it's like, yeah, I mean, you're first as a rookie. I'm just trying not to make mistakes. And again, I know at times that can make you make more mistakes, but just kind of, I mean, catch every ball you can, first time loose balls, communicate, talk, be in the best shape possible, and then hopefully you make it and you can kind of go from there. But it was a whole different speed, and then you're covering guys like John Grant Jr., who, yeah, I mean, like, is a very tough check, and he's kind of just ripping on you. You're like, yeah, I'm never making this team if he keeps doing that to me. So, but yeah, it was a difficult camp. It was a tough camp. Like, I remember having my first camp, there was tons of players there. Like, it felt like there was like 60 guys at camp, and it was, yeah, I mean, back then we would go like Friday night, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday, fitness testing in there. It was like a whirlwind of just like, I mean, staying fit, staying healthy, making sure, I mean, everything was good to go, and just doing your best all the time. And fortunately, it worked out.
We just had Ryan Dilks on last episode, and kind of a similar thing with they got him and Rubish in the same dispersal. So you went at 7, Eli went at 4. You guys kind of get, two foundational pieces of what was to come in the same draft. What was that kind of like coming in with him, kind of having that same career, like same timing, and then now playing your whole careers together so far?
Fabulous. Like, yeah, again, great person, great friend. I'm very fortunate to get to know Eli, and to be able to play with him. And yeah, I mean, I know it's shitty to play against them too. I've done that too, and it's not super fun. So and to be able to live, we lived together our first year down there, so we had a lot of fun. He obviously played in Peterborough, so we got to have a full summer together, and obviously we've been playing together for the last 10 years. And I mean, even in that group too, we got Bucher in that group, in that draft, and then we ended up picking up Noble too. So we had a real good core, and then D Ward the year before that. So like we had a real good young core mixed in with, I mean, some veteran guys, and it led to a lot of fun on the floor and off the floor, and even to be just watch some of those guys play and have success. And Eli's really matured, I mean, just kind of through the years as a player, right? Coming, like, he was drafted as a junior, still being a young guy and kind of secondary scorer. Now he's one of the best in the world at it. All around players, fit, so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. So very fortunate, and I mean, we've been able to have success together, which has been awesome.
I honestly, until you just said it, I completely forgot that that Noble pulled off the Eric Lindros trade me after drafted there. He was number one enemy in Rochester for a while. I forgot that seems like ages ago, man. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's a good squad for sure. Um,
Yeah, it was a crazy time. Yeah, I mean, like, back then, you're seeing a guy that's not playing. I don't know if he was one or two or whatever. I can't remember the order, but he was super high and then not playing and waiting for Denver. And we knew Noah was playing against them, and D Ward was like good buddies with him and from Orangeville and so on and so forth. So we always saw him around, and then finally get him, and then again, yeah, I mean, he's a good player, led to lots of success in Colorado.
Yeah, Ben McIntosh was one, Noble two, Miles Thompson three, and then Eli four. So pretty good players up there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not bad at all. Well, that I mean, talk us through too. Like, I mean, you play in a very unique place, man. That, like, a place that's kind of had success from the get go. I read an article the other day. I think this was like, it was like the Avalanche had a game during the day, and then the first Mammoth game was at night. So they let fans drink beers all day and stay for the game, and then the place has been packed ever since. Like, what's it like been playing your whole career there?
I read that too, and I was amazed. Steve Govett, obviously, like, kind of one of the first guys to kind of get things going in Denver, and being a part of the lacrosse community, and went on with other teams and had success, and that's been obviously something that, yeah, I mean, he kind of built from kind of the ground up. It was kind of cool to see. But again, and I know a lot of the guys know that we're all very fortunate to be able to play in Denver, Colorado, and in the Loud House, and it truly is. We have amazing fans, great organization, and Cronky Sports and Entertainment to be a part of, and kind of see the other teams had success too, over the years. And then, like you said, kind of right from their first season on, they've had great numbers. And I remember watching games and seeing, I mean, it packed to the rafters with 18, 19,000, and seeing them in the finals in 2006, and so on and so forth. The kind of the list goes on, and there's still fans that, yeah, I mean, are there. And there's every kind of game, there's new fans, young and old, kind of coming up to, hey, this is my first cross game, I'm getting season tickets. And it's cool to see, it's cool to hear. And like you guys know, the more exposure that lacrosse can get, yeah, I mean, it's one of those sports that people don't see, and they don't understand how great it is, and it's even better live. And to be able to kind of be a part of that and kind of help out just with it. And yeah, I mean, seeing the fans that can kind of, I mean, come out and be there every single night, and at all the signings and so on and so forth, it's cool to see. And, I mean, you get to be friends with them over the years, and it's been a good 10-year run there for sure over the time, and hopefully it just continues on.
Yeah, it's just such a full, like, kind of a well-rounded lacrosse community now too, right? Like, obviously, I played in Dallas and or Fort Worth, and now in Vegas. Like, Denver, it has the university, it has all the youth programs now, it has all these guys who either played for the Mammoth or played for the Pios and stay in Denver, and then they're coaching. Like, I worked the NCBS thing this summer, broadcasting, and Chuck was there, and like, what a great dude he is, and Matt Brown, and like all the stuff they've done. So it's a pretty cool. It is the model for like developing cities.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
it's a very it's a very easy city to fall in love with, and to transplant to and to move to. I know when I was younger, like my first year, and I was with my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, and we are like, yeah, I mean, kind of like ever the cross guy in between jobs, doesn't have a full time job, kind of working on a career, don't really have a career, and thinking like, is Denver's a spot I could move to. And again, same thing I thought about Charlotte. Like Charlotte, North Carolina is lovely. It's a great city that you could kind of see yourself move to. And I think a lot of guys see that in Denver. And like you talked about Shuey and Brownie and Johnny Gallant and Junior and all those guys that have had opportunities to kind of live in Market and have made it their full-time home. And other guys and other teams live there and part of the Denver University team that, yeah, I mean, stay there and live there. And I know even a bunch of guys from Pfeiffer would, like, I always got them tickets because they lived there for like 5-6 years when I was playing there. They just love the city, and it's one of those cities to experience. There's so much, yeah, I mean, there and people, yeah, I mean, might not totally understand it until you get there and you have so much, I mean, exposure to the mountains and different events and concerts and the downtown scene and so on and so forth. It's really, really cool spot, really cool area that it is. So it's yeah. And again, it just continues to grow, which is great to see.
I mean, talking about kind of piggybacking off that city and it being a great place, like talk us through what you remember about 2022 and that run through kind of the regular season maybe, and then into the playoffs.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those kind of, obviously not limped into playoffs, but one of those kind of seasons back and forth. Like I'd have to look. I don't even know if I've ever been a part of the team that we've had over, I don't know how many wins. I think we had one year that we had a bunch, maybe like 13 and something. But majority of the times are right around probably 9-10 wins, and I don't even know what we were that season, probably 8 or 9, I'm assuming. But again, kind of back and forth, and then obviously D Ward was playing really well. I think every year we get into playoffs, so we've had the opportunity to play in the playoffs, that we have confidence in our roster, have confidence in our team. And I mean, I thought it was a good mixture of young and old guys, or veteran guys that, yeah, I mean, kind of had leadership kind of moving forward. And then I believe we played Calgary, tough game. They always give, like, it's always a great rivalry, kind of back and forth. And yeah, I mean, they're a great team kind of over the years with the guys that they've always had on them. And then ended up West Finals against San Diego. I think we started there. Ryan Lee goes down in pregame or in practice, which again, yeah, I mean, like, I arguably had one of the best years. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, all time with how many points and how many assists and so on and so forth. So that was a huge blow for us. But ended up winning, won there, I think losing back home and then winning there. And again, kind of the boys really enjoyed San Diego that night. I remember that as a team, I mean, having some fun and going out and really kind of bonding and one of those things that, yeah, I mean, it's like any person that plays team sports, like that's why you play, to kind of win together, to sacrifice together. And just remembering so many guys, yeah, I mean, taking a punch in the mouth or an elbow or whatever it might be to win. And D Ward was playing amazing, and we scored in opportune times. I think I remember Eli scoring like the last couple seconds on a power play. Our old coach Bish kind of set up a great play, kind of coming down the alley, double behind, and he scored down the alley. And it was kind of like, it was a surreal experience to win that one, because you're like, holy shit, we're going to the finals here. And it's like, you're looking at the clock, like, oh, the clock's like, it's over, like we won. And then, like I said, go out, and then obviously Buffalo being such a strong team and having so much success over the years and so many finals, so many great players, great organization. And then kind of going the way that we did there in regards to losing, and we ended up losing in I believe it was maybe by 2 or 3, but the one goal we gave up, we kind of turned the ball over right at center. The old guy kind of went wrong way, and it was like, oh God, that's a tough way to lose. And then going back, winning, and then into game 3, and just remembering like how many fans and like everyone's like, oh, it's a hostile environment. I'm like, well, this is a home game for me. Like, this is a home game for every Eastern guy. Like, we had our whole family and friends there. And then my son was born that year, so he was born in April, and then he was, yeah, I mean, just growing up during the playoff run, April, May, June, yeah, I mean, type of thing. And so it was a pretty cool experience to have my wife and son there, and my mom and a lot of friends and family come down to the final game, and then end up winning again. It's a surreal experience. Like you said, it was kind of the same thing. You kind of look at the clock and you kind of see the countdown go on, and some real, yeah, I mean, guys that are probably unsung heroes like a Sammy Firth or Brett McIntyre stepped up, because Eli went down in game 1 or game 2. He goes down, so arguably our two best players on our team are out for, the season, and we don't know when they're coming back. And guys just rallied, and obviously D Ward stood on his head, and we were fortunate. And then, like I said, the time just kept ticking, and I thought our coaches and staff and scouting did an amazing job game planning from game to game and just understanding small adjustments that we did. And it was awesome. Like I said, we had a lot more fun after that one too. So it was a good time lighting up in Buff. We always like Buff. We always like San Diego, especially when you win. Anytime, any city's good when you win. So it was fortunate, and again, awesome to have that in 2022.
A few things there, just looking back through kind of the Mammoth and time you've been there, stuff that for younger guys like me who have grown, who are now playing without conferences and with 14 teams. In 2019, you guys went 6-12 and lost in the Western Final. now you now 6-12 gets you not even close, and then 2011, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, and 19, your season ended against the Roughnecks, which is like just unbelievable that you would have to see the same team in there that many times. And the same is true for Toronto and Buffalo and some of the teams out here too. So just kind of crazy. Really a major difference now without the conferences.
Yeah, big time. And again, like I always knew that. Like I know, people complain about. We were fortunate with the conferences because, like you said, we snuck in with a couple of bad. I didn't know exactly the record, but I knew it wasn't good, and I knew like that, like in a straight system, just overall standings, it probably wouldn't get you in. But yeah, and then, like I said, those Calgary teams were good. I think they won in 19 or one of the
19, yeah.
years they won, and then went to the finals. I think 15. They ended up losing, or 14. And Shawnee was there when I started, maybe my first 2 or 3 years he was out there. I think he won an MVP the one year, was close to second. I think he set a points record the one year, and then or the year after, whatever it was. So like, and Dix and Dobie, and yeah, like it's like you name those three, like you got a pretty high potent offense there, and yeah, good defenders, great coaching at the time, and still do. And so it was always tough, and it felt like every time it was like an overtime loss, or close to it, or one goal or whatever. And so it was one of those ones. It's shitty to say, but sometimes you got to lose before you can win. And there was a lot of us that were losing a lot there at the start, and in tough divisions, or in conference finals, or whatever it ended up being. And then we were able to kind of get through it at the end, or a different time. So I'm glad that, we were able to actually win one, and hopefully we can win another one.
What do you remember about your day with the cup?
My day with the cup, yeah, it was good. It was one of those crazy schedules that I was hoping to get a little bit earlier, just kind of when, you're in the summer and everyone's around and partying. I don't think I got it till like October or like November, just with the schedule and how it worked out, and trying to get like guys all over the States first, and then came up here. So again, it was pretty tame. I had it at the house, and I think some buddies came over. I think I had it for like 2 or 3 days. So it was like a week with the cup, and then we went out for dinner with it. A small town establishment, Sticks. It's right across from the Mem Center in Peterborough,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Off track betting. It's a great spot. I love it there. A couple buddies work there. We always kind of meet up there. It's our spot. So friends and family came there, and I was fortunate. I think that year, yeah, I had the Man Cup and I had the Champions Cup that year. So I had both of them there at Sticks. So it was kind of a cool
That's nice.
experience. There's some pictures with my son and my wife and my family. And then, like I said, it was just pictures and stuff, because kind of, I was working and getting back in shape for lacrosse kind of for the next year. So kind of keeping it tame. And then, I'd have to figure out the dates, but I had to drive it to Sammy first, like the next day. I met him in like Calidar, because it was like his day, but I could only give it to him for like 48 hours, because then I had to bring it back. And how did that work? I had to bring it to Denver because I was going there for D Ward's wedding, because he wanted it there for the wedding. So it was like, it was a nuts, like I don't even know how, like 4 or 5 days of driving and travel, but it was great to have again. It was an awesome time with it, and hopefully we can get it again here.
We had Connor Robinson on a while ago now, but I heard about his mishap with the parade. Did you make it to the parade, or did you also miss it?
I was unfortunately working, so like we
Oh,
went back after the game. All the guys flew back, and I was kind of jokingly after, yeah, I mean, a couple of pints and saying like I'm bringing it to Peterborough, and I was just going to take it to Peterborough right after the win, and just they would have to come and get it from me. But I obviously didn't because there's majority rules. I think they just outmanned me, outmuscled me, and bring it back to Denver. But I never made it to the parade. I was working as a teacher at the time, or still am, but and it just wasn't allotted with how many days ended up taking off from the whole entire kind of school year, all the way from November all the way to at the time it was June, report card season, so on and so forth. So I kind of had to do the old during lunch break, kind of watch on Snapchat, see it on the next day on Twitter, and so on and so forth. See all the boys have a good time. But yeah, I mean, I had a smile on my face the whole time to see the guys have fun. It was good to see, and seeing them kind of have success with the abs, and kind of everyone had success at the same time. And yeah, I mean, I still hear about some good stories kind of coming out of the woodworks of those parties that they had. So it was good to have. I wish I could have been there. I wish kind of family could have been down there. But again, I mean, you gotta work when you gotta work. So, but yeah, I was happy to see the guys and be a part of the parade.
I don't think we've ever asked anyone this. What's it like teaching or doing your job like 48 hours after the best night of your life?
It doesn't matter what happens at work that day. You're still just smiling and cheesing and whatever it is. So it was whatever we won. We won the Saturday night, had a good Saturday, had a good Sunday, and then back to work on Monday for full time. And yeah, I mean it's one of those ones you just kind of keep going. You know what I mean? But again, it's one of those times. Anytime you can win a championship, it's awesome. And again, not a lot can kind of get you down from that. You know, I mean, that high of being, you know, I mean, happy and sacrificing, and then it kind of, once it comes around, maybe a month or two later, you kind of said, "Oh God, I'm a little beat up, sore, so on and so forth." But
Yeah.
then you're right back into it, right? Kind of playing summer ball and kind of rolling right through it. So, but it was a great experience, and again, like I said, hopefully we'll be able to do it again.
I'm
Kids
picturing
were
that.
watching movies that day.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm picturing
Wheel
the
the
scene,
TV in.
the scene from School Rock when he's like, "I'm hungover. Who knows what that means? You're drunk. No, I was drunk
Yeah,
yesterday."
yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday. No, I was actually like at the time I was in like a specialized program. And it was like, so it wasn't any moves. It was a regular day. I just kept everything on track, like a regular day. Didn't change anything up, for me. But again, the kids are really good about it. Like, I don't think we had any problems, or I wasn't worried about too many problems. If we did have any problems, like I said, I was on, cloud nine. I was very happy. But again, it was a good time. I enjoyed going to work. I still do. So again, it was tough that seeing your buddies at the parade and having a
Yeah,
bunch of fun and all that stuff. And you kind of obviously wish you were there, but it didn't work out. But again, they couldn't wipe the smile off my face at work.
yeah, that's great, man. Well, and I guess the other part here too is you've been coaching. How long have you been coaching the junior A's for?
We started before COVID, so we lost a couple seasons there. So I guess our first actual year was the bubble year, whatever that was. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so what's that experience been like? Is it like, have you always coached? Did you coach minor before that or anything?
no, we started. So my group of, I guess, like guys that we kind of coached with, I started right after I graduated from high school. So while I was at Pfeiffer, we always came back and coached the lacrosse team at our high school at Holy Cross High School, which yeah, I mean, had tons of talent like Zach Currier before he went to Culver, Ethan Walker, Turner Evans, Josh Currier, Paxton LaRue, a bunch of junior A players. I know I'm missing a bunch of names, but we had a great team. We ended up winning OFSA 3 years in a row. And then every year we were able to go there and kind of compete with some of the bigger schools and stuff like that. So that's where I kind of started. And then I coached AAA hockey for a handful of years as assistant coach when I could help out. And then kind of always in the summer, I always worked at a hockey school here in town, Canadian Hockey Enterprises, and did the off ice and different performance things for them. And so it kind of always started when I was younger, and it was always something I wanted to do. And then when the opportunity kind of came up to help out with the junior A's and kind of take things over after maybe some lean years there, some years of struggling that I wanted to jump up at the opportunity. And I knew the kind of the guys I wanted to kind of bring on were guys that I coached with before, and we kind of had some success before. So I kind of reached out to those guys and put some new guys in there. And I think it was a humbling experience, just realizing how much time goes into it. And again, it's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, and I realize that being with hockey and lacrosse before, like there's a lot more negative things said about you, right? Like about, oh, this coach is this and that, instead about, I mean, the hours that you put in. But it's the people, the players, the people that really understand it and how it goes about. But again, there were some busy times there, like I said, with going and playing till June, and missing out on a ton of junior A and senior A and family time, and that just hurt, to me, just my coaching in regards to being there and being, having a consistent voice and kind of having the lineup set and so on and so forth when we were flying out early. And so again, we had some success early, made the playoffs, missed the playoffs when we probably shouldn't, and then last year was a good year for us. But again, continuing to learn, continuing to making sure kind of, I mean, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. Just, I think that's one thing I really learned, just making sure everything's organized and put in place prior to, don't take things for granted.
Yeah.
We were all, I mean, 15 to 21 before, and like we know, there's a lot of mistakes that we make, and we try to tell them our mistakes, right? So they don't make the same mistake, because a lot of the times it's very similar mistakes, and they're so small, but they can just, I mean, like you guys know, really shatter a team and a culture and things that we're trying to build back. And we've had a very good core the last couple of years, and we're continuing to build with that over the time. And hopefully it'll lead to more success. And we got a good crew kind of coming back this year. And we're really looking forward to it. We've already kind of started kind of some work with the draft and different meetings and some floor time. So we're excited for it.
That's great, man. Well, I think that, I mean, that pretty much covers everything we wanted to kind of roll through, except I know typically at the end we like to ask guys a couple questions. So the first one, we'll switch up the order this time, but we'll go, do you have any kind of like weird piece of gear, old kidney pads, old arm guards, or like some sort of weird thing that you got to do before games?
I had a jock that was like a Jofa jock that was like older than dust, and the whole thing was electrical tape. Like the guys, like Timmy Edwards, Timmy Secrets always said, if he gets me for Secret Santa, that's what he's buying me, is a jock for Christmas. Now it's like, it was so ripped to pieces that I had to like, I have to get new stuff for it, so it's on the shelf right now. It's still in the bag.
Yeah.
It's just waiting. But that would be pretty.
That's your thing. That's so what I mean, so you're holding on to that. Are you holding on to it like just as like some sort of memento in your gear bag, or are you planning to fix this thing up?
I'm planning to fix it up. It's just time is not something that I have a ton of. So I think laziness too, in all
Yeah.
honesty. But like I need to just get like a reworking of a strap, and they're fabulous jocks. It's like a Jofa, like old school.
And you can't feel good about passing that to the equipment guy to be like, hey buddy, you want to throw a strap on this one?
No, I don't think I could do that. Even though we have a dynamite equipment guy, I don't think I could do that to him. So that would be like an old piece of equipment that I have. I think my chin cup's really old too. Like it's just been kind of transplanted from one to the other helmet year over year. It's just, yeah, sweat stain. It's not the nicest looking thing on a new helmet, but it is what it is.
It's kitchen first and then jock. Eh? That's you
Yeah.
get the kitchen dealt with, and then turn your attention back to the jock
The
strap.
Christmas tree will go up soon, and then we'll
Yeah,
see
Yeah,
if we can find
yeah,
maybe a little
yeah.
piece of ribbon. Hey, get strapped, maybe
yeah.
a little Christmas ribbon
Yeah.
on the jock.
Who knows? Who knows? It's so far on the back burner right now, like you said, but it's on the list. So
Yeah.
I will get to that. It might be like 2026, but I'll get to the reworking of the jock and bring it back out.
That thing's gonna get up and walk out of your gear bag by 26.
Oh, yeah.
And then the last one is your number. What's the reasoning behind it?
At Pfeiffer University, my roommate at the time, Tom Buckley, he was the guy before me to pick a number, going to the coach's office as freshman, and he ended up picking the number that I wanted, 15, that I wore in junior. And the other numbers were like terrible in my opinion. The only other like good one was 18. So I picked 18, and then when I got drafted, they threw 18 on the jersey right away. I didn't even get to pick a number, so I was just like, I'm 18, and then I just like stuck with 18, and then in Peterborough it kind of transitioned. I think I was 5 my first year. Just kind of they gave me a good number, and they didn't even ask. I was like, oh, that's a good number, and then Aaron Wilson wanted 5. I think we traded for him, and as a rookie, I said sure. I just gave it to him. And I took 10. And then it ended up, I don't know who got 10, but then I just had 18 the next summer. I was in there. So it's just been kind of on everything now, and I'm stuck to it, and I love it. And yeah, so I was 21 and 15 were my two kind of go-tos. My dad wore 5, so that's why picked 5, and then 10 was a random one, and then 18, I've wore 18 ever since 2013 or 20, no, it would have been before that, 2010, I think. So it's
Wow.
been 18 all the way there.
Love it, man.
Awesome.
That's a Yeah, that's a good story for that, and I love the jock parts. That's an awesome one too. But dude, appreciate you taking the time. It's been a good chat, and again, it's good luck the rest of the year here. Fun to kind of watch you guys go to battle. So keep it up. Good luck with the renos. Hopefully, wrap those things up, and Christmas isn't too hectic here. But again, appreciate you taking the time, man.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It was great to be on with you guys, and hopefully, yeah, the kitchen rentals go smooth here. We can get it done before Christmas. That's the plan, but it's probably February.
Yeah. Love
Thanks,
it.
man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you guys.
All right, we're back. What an interview with Hopi. That was awesome, man. Sit down with him. We appreciate him taking the time. Again, quite the place to spend your entire NLL career. I'm kind of jealous of that. That's not bad. A full barn every night. That sounds all right. Do we want to dive into some cards, Donnie?
We have our last pack of PLL cards. And uh, if you don't like this segment, I have bad news for you. If you like the segment, I have good news for you. We have more cards on the way. So the card boys are just getting started. All right. Okay, again, 8 is normal, 9 is special. This feels. Oh, wow. We have a very special one. I'll leave that for last. This thing is
Oh
heavy.
boy.
All right.
Oh
All
boy,
right.
Donnie just got
All
all the
right.
signs.
We got 9 again. We got 9 again. We're the best at this. All
Yo,
right.
you're also, if that's a really good one, we're splitting it.
Yeah. Okay. I think it is a really good one. I gotta check with the value boys, but back to the bird guest, Karen McCardle.
Cardsy. Love that.
You had a very good story with him. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but
Oh, when we were playing beer pong after a game in Toronto, and we got naked mild. So we had to go, instead of that, we did the troll toll where you have to lay underneath the table. And I looked at him and I was like, dude, your outfit's kind of giving dad energy. And he looked at me and I was like, oh my God, are you having a kid? And I was the first person to know that Cards was having a kid. So
that's
there's your
right. What a
story.
what a great story. My former teammate Roman Puglisi. Go
Pugsy.
Terps. Yep. Newest member of the National Lacrosse League, Michael Sowers.
Sows. Look at the fucking tree trunks on Sowsy. And look at
Yep.
his legs.
By newest member, by the way, I should clarify. He was drafted a few years ago. He's been technically part of it for a while, but traded to the Wings this week and put on the practice squad. So glad to see him part of the league. Colby Bars, Archer's defender. Barzy,
Barman.
barman, bartender.
Beer.
Gavin
We call him
Adler.
pint.
Speaking
Uh,
of former teammates, first overall draft pick a few years ago, Cornell Big Red alumni, Jake
Jake Adler.
Richard.
Oh, Dick. Jake Dick.
Docs Aitken,
Akesy.
Aiksy,
The
Coxey,
doctor.
Marcus Holman. Go Cannons,
Oh.
baby. Go Cannons. Got it right here.
Yep.
Freaking go Cannons, man. And then this thing is
Come on.
sweet. There's only 10 of these available. We have one of 10. It is a game used memorabilia Connor Kelly, part of his jerseys in the card.
What?
One of
Come
10. You can
on.
see it on the Yeah, you can
Wow.
see it right there.
We're gonna have to get that signed.
Wow.
That's something. It looks like it's like a thicker card too.
Yeah, it is. That's a good call. I'll show
Wow.
that on camera too. And let
Holy
me,
smokes. Boy, yo, you want to throw that right in a wrapper here. This is something. Wow.
yeah, we're gonna have to elevate this up the food chain here. We all these years of doing the podcast, we might be making it rich here
Oh,
as I
whoa,
drop it.
easy. Easy.
I didn't get the corners are good. It says this Connor Kelly relic is an authentic game worn jersey from the Philadelphia Water Dogs versus the Utah Archers game on June 1st, 2024.
That's my birthday. Come on.
No way.
Yep.
Holy. We are
Yeah.
absolutely buzzing.
I turned 31, and I think at the time of the puck drop of that game, I was probably about 18 Cottage Springs deep. So that is a hell of a memento. That's great news. I love it. So if
So
anybody
that
wants it,
brings
$1 million.
let's see. Let's that brings our we bought 5 packs. A reminder, we bought these. We didn't no handouts here unless
Nope.
you of course want to give us handouts and then we will
Yeah, let's
take them.
go sponsor and give us money too.
And where is I think the Brandau card is at my house. So we're gonna have to get
Get
that
in.
one in there. But the special ones we got a rookie card, Liam Entenmann. We got a 1 of 77 Chris Gray. This one's got some
Some
thickness to it
girth.
too.
Some girth
And
to her.
then
Wait till we get the
just
thick. Wait till we get the thick Jake Wrench card. Jake Richard Wrench. That's gonna be a hell of a pull.
this is at the bottom of the pile of our last card deck. That yeah,
What?
I don't know. That's for last.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying there. I didn't know where you were
Yeah.
going with it.
I,
And
I
then
was gonna say it was
you got the
like I
Baptiste
was gonna say
card.
it's Destiny or something. I think that's probably a little dramatic.
I
Um,
think so as well. Yeah.
I hope my Destiny. If you believe in Destiny, I hope it's better than pulling a Connor Kelly game used
Yes.
memorabilia card.
Yeah.
But yeah, there it is.
I
OG
love it.
member of the Riptide too.
Yep. Yep. Me and oh, I'm not gonna tell his nickname. That's a story for another day.
Okay,
But CK, what a weapon. We had some fun times. They lived down in Long Island. Him, John Luke Chetner, Tyson Bomberry lived in a house, and there's some fun stories that came out of that. So
good
um
crew.
I think actually once upon a time we wanted to see if they were like using their protein that was in their house. So we threw a croissant inside the protein to see if like we would notice. And I'm pretty sure we went back like a month later and it was still just in there untouched. So the
Moldy.
boys, yeah, just moldy as shit. But the boys weren't getting their protein in. So that's a good way to check for anyone out there. If you want to make sure any of your buddies or teammates are getting their protein in, just throw something in there to see if they notice. Um, Anything else, Donnie, we want to touch on before we wrap it up?
Yeah, a few things. I think over the holidays here, I think we'll probably do this will come out Friday before Christmas. I think we'll probably try to do some sort of a best of episode. We haven't done that in a while. Maybe put out a mailbag or something like that. Kind of solicit some of the best stories we've had on there. Obviously, make sure to follow us on Lacrosse Culture, and then I think look for another interview episode probably in the new year. I think would probably be safe, and definitely make sure to tune in to the next episode. Paulie had some really hilarious context to that story about the gun falling out, which did the rounds on social. So, I think we'll kind of flush out that story a little more. I'll wait for Paulie to do it himself. But yeah, other than that, feeling good, looking for a W.
Yeah.
Looking to score a few more. And,
Maybe
that's it.
maybe just go watch some fucking Dane Dobie film. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, that was something. I
yeah,
couldn't believe it. But that
crazy.
guy's just that you know what? I love him. I love that guy so much. He's an awesome dude. You know what he did to me, Donnie? The one time in my life I had the opportunity to peak. So we're playing in the Jeff Teat Bowl. I'm doing my best to make sure we can't draft another lefty. I put up 6. I'm juiced. I probably had 13 goals that whole year, and 6 of them were in that game. But I was so excited. I think I might be getting Player of the Week. Oh, let's go check a box score. Dobie puts up 7 and 4 and gets Player of the Week. Like, give me a break. He couldn't let me have it. So,
Yeah.
shout out to him. What a game. And then Mans as well has a heck of a game for Sask. So, a couple cool
Yeah,
performances.
6 is a lot.
Yeah, and not to mention that O'Neal kid, the rookie's got it, puts up 4 as well. So um, there's a lot happening. I mean, sensitive subject, I'm sure, but
Yeah,
um,
that's
such
fair.
is such is life. On to the next one, Donnie. But we
On to the
appreciate
next.
this. We appreciate you guys listening. That does it for episode 129 of Back of the Bird, presented by Cottage Springs. Go drink them. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.